Welcome to the Whurthy Services training video series. This is Module 2, the Service Provider's Experience. In this second video, we're going to walk through location setup. We'll start by reviewing how to add a location, then we'll edit a location, and finally, we'll explore deleting locations. We should look to the Whurthy links sidebar and scroll down till we find the administration section. And then we're looking for the locations link. Now, just a note here, if your organization has used a different label for locations, perhaps room or office or chair or station or whatever you've chosen, then obviously this link will be different. However, we've chosen the label of location for the purpose of this demonstration. So I'm going to click on the locations link, and now I can see the list of locations. We've set up 2 locations in this Whurthy Services instance. In the second card, we can see the Add Location button. Then we can see a summary of each of the 2 locations we've created. You'll notice in both of these cards, we've taken the approach of having locations named by a geographical prefix, such as downtown. You could have city or region or whatever makes sense for your organizational setup. And then we've added the names of rooms for that particular physical space. We've deliberately designed locations set up this way to allow for the greatest amount of flexibility. So now I'm going to click on the Add Location button. As we look at this form, we'll see, first of all, we need to enter a name. So perhaps here I could enter in downtown and type in now a third room, and we will go with beach. After we've entered the name for the location, then we get to select what type of location this is. Now, one of the things that we've built into Whurthy is the type of location that is physical or virtual. So physical is, as it sounds, you enter in the physical address, but virtual, you then get to enter in a virtual address. And what we recommend here is that you would enter in an actual URL, for example, of the Zoom meeting room, if it has a permanent Zoom meeting room, or maybe the landing space for whatever online collaborative communication software you're using. But this allows flexibility for you to be able to have services delivered at locations that are virtual. So we could here have, rather than calling this downtown, we could call this Zoom, or our Zoom room. And then you would enter in the URL of your Zoom room there. That will mean that whenever you're looking at this location, it will present the URL in the list and in the detail page. And it will also present that URL to the customer once they've booked that session, so they don't have to look for that URL. So I'm just going to go ahead and just put in a URL to Whurthy. And underneath that, remember in the Whurthy Foundation video, we looked at tax scope and we left it as the tax scope as by venue. So this is where we get to enter in the tax scope for this particular location. And this setup, this approach allows you now to really have different tax scopes regardless of where these locations are. And so I'm going to just enter GST and then 5%. And then at the bottom, I'm going to click Create Location. And just to be clear here, this second tax label is optional. So now the location Zoom room has been successfully created, and we can see here it's listed. And when I go back to locations, then it's now appearing in the list. And then notice how the virtual address here at the bottom is a clickable hyperlink. Now I'm going to look at editing a location. So when we want to edit a location, we'll just click on that location, and then we can see the detailed page. We've got 4 buttons at the bottom here. Obviously, back to locations will take us back to that list view. This edit location is how we will edit the form. So I will click on edit location. And now I can make any changes. So perhaps if I wanted to change my mind, I could come and change this to the original label. I could say physical address. And notice, because this particular browser, and most browsers do this, they offer an autocomplete feature. So I've already entered an address before. And so I can just literally either click or press the down arrow key, hit enter, and it will fill that address for me. It's a little bit of a time saver that comes from the browser. And then now that I've made that change of address, I can update the location, and now it shows the physical address and everything has been updated. Before I talk about deleting a location, I'm just going to let you know that this cancel for location button, we'll be looking at this in more detail in another video. There are actually two cancel workflows, one for service providers or therapists. So that allows them to, in effect, cancel all openings between a period of time. And that supports, for example, if they are sick, if they're unable to come into work. And so Whurthy will take care of blocking off that time. And there's also approval workflow and the option of turning that on and turning that off. And we'll be diving into that in much more detail. The cancel for location is very useful, particularly given over the last couple of years, there have been a number of challenges for service organizations that have had to shut down. And so the ability to cancel for a particular location and to present any openings from displaying for that location, we anticipate that's of great convenience. So now I'm going to click on the delete location button. Now it's colored red, obviously, because we use the color red just to get your attention, just to cause you to pause. So I'm going to click on the delete location button. So now in here, it displays the delete location, and then there's some information to review. So you're absolutely certain that you want to delete the location, Downtown Beach, from Whurthy. There are currently 0 event bookings in Whurthy for this location. Deleting this record is a permanent decision. Please be absolutely certain you want to delete this record before clicking the delete button. That sounds good to me. I'm going to go ahead and click delete. And so it's now disappeared. Now what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to look at a location that has bookings against it. So I'm going to click on Downtown Sunrise, and then I'm going to click on the delete location button. So you'll immediately notice that this page is quite different. And the reason why there was an asterisk by that label of delete location at the beginning of the video is that I really wanted to draw your attention to something. So what Whurthy does is it will, when you try to delete a location, it will check for the number of bookings. So it's changed, and it's said here there are currently 6 event bookings in Whurthy for this location. And please be sure you are clear on the following before deleting this record. Event bookings are made by customers for services delivered in locations. Whurthy services identify locations for a booking. In simple terms, Whurthy services uses locations to identify where the service will be delivered. Delete a location and all related bookings will also be deleted. Just so you know, the delete button will only display to super users. So you don't have to be concerned with staff or business admins deleting a location. While deleting this location will not disrupt how Whurthy works, this could well disrupt any business process that relies on booking information such as revenue and taxes. In summary, deleting any record without proper consideration can lead to problems with the underlying data. If you have no need of any bookings related to this location, then all will be well. If you are not certain about what this means, you are strongly advised to submit a support ticket rather than delete this record. And again, deleting this record is a permanent decision. So I just wanted to draw your attention to that. Super users are the ones that can create locations, edit locations, and delete locations. And so with that awareness, that concludes our review of location setup. Whurthy, value made easy.